Good work it as wine.
Okay, I'm at Kaikoura Skate Park where unfortunately I couldn't skate as I'm still looking for some hardware to complete the dick. But anyway, here's the podcast. Now, it's completely unedited, partly because I don't know how, but that's why, because I want this just to be the raw starting point with no skills, no research, no idea what I'm doing. And hopefully after I do some tutorials and do some research and do a few of these, they will start to get better from this point. So anyway, have a laugh. It's pretty poor, but it made me smile. So if you like it, that's cool. If you don't, that's cool. We're only going to get better. Cheers. Hello and welcome to Go Rocker Does Wine. And as you can see, we've had a bit of an innings. This is Kane Mansell, the first guest on the podcast.
Oh, thank you.
He's enjoyed himself. We've been drinking the Brewski beers, which are Swedish. Pretty labels.
Definitely pretty labels. Definitely. Some of the beers have been okay.
Slightly hit or miss. Like nothing bad, nothing terrible by no means, but
I definitely think you picked them the right way though.
yeah, like the ordering. I put a bit of research in. I'm like, this is the order we should do it. So it's been good. Couple of stunners in there. Great packaging. Got to be honest. Great packaging. All right. So every episode on the podcast, there will be a mystery wine. We are drinking the mystery wine out of our Coca-Cola jam jars. So
finally sponsored by McDonald's.
Cheers, Maccas. So is this, by the way. So at the end of the episode, Kane will have to give us some answers on what is the mystery wine, and that'll be fun, especially when you find out exactly what it is. But apart from that, let's talk a little bit about beer since this is a wine podcast. So what are you doing right now? How do you get your crust?
Well, I work for Stockade Veruca, the sales rep for the inner west in the Blue Mountains of New South Wales and Sydney. Well, Sydney, New South Wales, I should say. It was a nice dyslexic moment. It was perfect. I'll laugh at that.
I worked with Kane back in 2014 at Camperdown Cellars.
Yeah.
Dyslexic moments are part of the parcel, but it's all part of the package. That's why we love him.
Yeah, absolutely. Predictive text and voice text is
before Google could tell you, before you could text without Google and voice, he wouldn't text, he'd just ring.
Yeah, absolutely. Phone calls are horrendous. Yeah, so I've been with these guys like a year and a half. We are a family-owned business. And doing some big, crazy things at the moment. So it started off in 2015. There's a whole story behind that. I'm sure if you really want to hear it, I do many events, many tap takeovers, all the digger stations and things. So come along and you can hear that kind of story. But for me, personally, I started a year and a half ago. I actually wasn't a big fan of the original beer.
I'll tell you now, a year and a half ago, I didn't know who they were, and I was working in a craft beer shop.
Yeah.
So this is a lot of exposure you've put, because now it's on tap lists everywhere, every decent takeaway liquor shop. In a year and a half, I know you're not the only one that's working hard, but these guys have been working very hard.
We've been very lucky that our sales team in New South Wales is some awesome people who've been a part of the craft beer industry from, so some were pre-Mountain Goat, well, the start of Mountain Goat to...
Ed. I remember Ed from my liquor shop days.
Mountain Goat, Mr. Mountain Goat.
This is before Mountain Goat sold out. Don't send any hate his way.
Yeah. No, he still believes in the brand, loves them. It's great. Good on you.
Good on you.
Good on you and Matt Goat. But yeah, no, Stockade. I came in the company when they had just done a couple of new limited releases. 8-bit was still really fresh and you don't know what ape it is, it's our West Coast IPA. It's a very funky looking label, which kind of looks like a pixelated 80s, what can you say, 80s,
Invader.
early 90s
No,
kind of.
it's like an Invader, not Invader Sim, that's a funny cartoon though.
Yeah.
But the fighting, shooting 80s thing.
You can
Atari.
Google it. It's very easy to find.
Is now. It wasn't
Yeah.
a year ago, my friend.
Yeah, we kind of came on, and man, we won the best beer for Gabs, which is the great Australian beer
It's the Ducks, Nuts and
spectacular,
Oz.
where every brewery in the country has, if they want to be a part of it, it is a festival beer. And our owner Anton, he entered obviously the Mountie, which is 12.5% maple imperial stout.
And that's the one that you just put up against Foundation's beer.
Founders.
Founders.
So,
Foundation.
yeah.
Founders beers.
So look, there
it's
is
a big call, but I like it.
Yeah, look, the barrel aging kind of revolution in craft beer is just kind of starting. There's a few people doing it. We've been compared only to Founders only because we do a bourbon barrel aged stout and a maple bourbon aged stout. So is Founders. They have some really good IPAs. So do we. So like comparison wise, like they do similar stuff to us, but they're far ahead of us. We're getting there, like, and we will be there one day. Like, we're building a whole brewery based on barrel aging beers in Marrickville, which should be open shortly.
So Founders is an American craft brewery, and obviously the American scene's been around for maybe 6-7 times longer than the Sydney. Well, Australia in general is one of the last Western countries to realise that craft beer is interesting.
Yeah, I even think New Zealand.
New Zealand's way before us, way before.
Yeah, oh man, Emerson's Pilsner. Like,
Epic's like 10 years old, Tirtara is like way older than any, well, not any, obviously Feral and Mount Goat, we've had a few breweries that were there, but as far as like an explosion, like we have now in Sydney where you just walk around the corner, you know, brewery.
Yeah. Oh,
another 10 kilometres, there's another new brewery.
Yeah, well, we're lucky, like, okay, so we're here in the general inner west of Sydney, which is now going to be the capital of craft beer of Australia. That's what they're trying to,
I wouldn't be surprised, seeing what I've seen over the last 2 years.
Yeah, so, with us being there, there's obviously Batch, which you've reviewed earlier today, nice review. Look, I think they come leaps and bounds.
Yeah, they're getting there. They're not the best beers in the area, but they're not the worst. And I like what they're doing.
You look at these beers which we've tried tonight, and then you have a look at the beers that Batches done. Like they have that similar like, I'm just gonna make a beer all the time. And like, it's really hard to do that, like consistently and make good beer. Like you're gonna make some shit beer.
It happens.
Unless you're the best brewer in the world, which I've still tried the best breweries in the world, and some of their beers have been shit. Like
it's a lot of chemistry, my friend.
When we're in this craft beer, like this craft revolution, where you accidentally chuck a Mars bar into a pale ale, and then 2 weeks later you have a Mars bar pale ale. Like, that's where we're at, and like, sorry, I've stolen that quote off somebody who I just heard recently, but it's so true. It's really true. It's great. It's great to see because it means that people are super creative, and the craft beer industry should be. But at the same time, it really needs to be sustainable, and I think going forth, I even think Batch will delve back on how many limited releases to do. You've got the newcomers in the industry like Wildflower, which are doing basically.
Yeah, but that guy is hardcore. That is a very intelligent person who's gone balls deep into sours and yeast and barrels and the whole chemistry. He's gone way down into that. So I'm very interested to see what happens with him. But so I think a lot of the bad producers might fall away, but I think the good producers will only get stronger.
I think this is a very cheap wine, by the way.
That's alright. We'll talk about this at the end.
I'm just smelling it. I'm like,
We will
I
talk
think
about
I've been drunk
this
on this wine before, but
hey,
look, all wine is good wine until you find out what it is.
Yeah. So let's. I think there's a similarity at the moment with the wine industry with what you're talking about. Although the craft beer industry is much more in your face, but it's a fad. It's a fad operated where. This is in Sydney mostly, so sorry to my American friends. This has been more compressed, but it's everywhere. But everyone's doing a pale ale. Everyone does a pale ale. Everyone's doing IPAs. Everyone has to do an IPA. Everyone has to do a New England IPA and put juice on the label. And whatever the next version is,
craft
you
beer
think they're gonna run out of versions?
Monopoly are the same thing. You go past Go and you collect $200, but in the craft beer industry, you're making a New England IPA. Last time
you need to collect.
You made a pale ale. It's gonna happen. It's the evolution of craft beer. People want to try new, different things. Like that's why it's fresh. That's why the industry is growing. Is because this is the difference between wine and beer, big time. Is because
creativity.
Yeah, and look, if you're a winemaker, and obviously we have some winemaker friends. If you are watching this, if you're in that marketing department speaking to people, get creative. Stop putting organic on a label.
Don't start me on the organic thing. I've done a lot of research.
I'm the same.
Greatest marketing hoax of all time, but anyway.
Yeah. How about thinking about ways you can blend wine together? Blend something which is a bit different.
Well, that's a fundamental difference, is that you can add ingredients to craft beer, and it's fun and interesting. You add an ingredient to wine, and you've got a lot of rich old dudes that are about to fucking get really angry at you, and they're the ones that own and fund the industry to a certain extent.
I'd love to see a review of an old dude just kind of like a West Coast cooler. You give him a West Coast cooler and say,
this is my new Sauv Blanc.
Yeah.
Give him a West Coast cooler in a glass.
Yeah, it's just to see
just say it's natural and you can do it. It's fine.
Exactly.
It's my natural West Coast wine.
Yeah. But it did come from the East Coast, and we had to transport it by hand.
But we didn't add sulfur, so it's healthy. It's good for you.
Exactly.
It's gluten free.
Yeah. Sulfur never happens naturally, does it?
No, I've never seen sulfur in the natural element. You're crazy.
But yeah, look, good labels have definitely helped the wine industry.
Well, that's a new thing.
That is the whole, the natural.
That's why we're buying natural wine. The labels are awesome.
Yeah, they really are. Good work on the marketing team.
The chemistry is not, but the marketing and labels are awesome.
Yeah, but stop hiding it. If you're gonna make something like that, stand behind your work, and actually, if it is infected, say it's infected instead of trying to sell it for the same price.
That's the big thing, is that
in beer you don't do that. If you made a shit beer,
you can't just relabel it and call it natural. You gotta have some honest integrity here.
Wow, hey, I've got tattoos, and I live in the inner west of Sydney.
Yeah, that's cheap.
You could call me a hipster, but stop picking on us, man. Stop picking on the fucking,
And stop making wine in a shed.
I pay enough expensive rent. If I want to buy a bottle of wine which is a bit different, don't call it a natural wine and charge me $40. How about create a good wine and challenge me? Beer, dude. Beer's
That's one thing where beer is ahead of the wine industry. I'll give you that 100%. Is that beer, not in Germany, I guess, with the law, but they're trying the purity law.
Yeah.
But in general, the beer industry are about innovation and whatever.
Yeah.
It's got a cat.
It's actually, it's quite funny, getting back to a bit about Stockade, one of the four brothers is he studied his brewing at Juan Stefano. So
really?
he is a traditionalist You know, like it's crazy when you go, oh look, we want to do a New England IPA and put grapefruit juice in it. It's like no. Like,
Yeah.
well, we think it's going to do really well.
It's a new market.
It's a new market. Like we need to do one because like the craft beer market's kind of yeah.
Name Germany purity law,
Yeah.
1660
Well,
or I'm not
when
sure.
you try our lager, like it shows a really good perspective of who Stockade is. It's traditional super lager, you know, which is, you know, clean, crisp, and then obviously the other side of the family / everybody in the office who's like, yeah, shit,
Let's go crazy.
add some hops into it. Yeah, like it's not hoppy enough yet. Like add some more. I'm like, oh wow, okay, that's probably a little bit before the time.
I see breweries should be judged not on their cool, funky stuff that's creative. Like, that's important, obviously, that's why we buy it.
Yeah.
But the quality of brewing and brewing practices are more shown through a lager or a pilsner or something that is peeled back from all this rubbish, and this is the purity of the process, and this is the product we can create.
This is
and then we can build it.
Tempranillo, by the way. I'm like.
It's not. We'll talk about it at the end. Elefante is not a cheap winery, by the way.
Hey, it's $14.99 a bottle. It's pretty.
Is it?
Yeah, or $19.99.
For Elefante?
Yeah.
Okay, might be.
No.
So, alright, we have a new guest. This is A-Dog, Adam. We've all actually worked together in the past.
99 bottles of beer on the wall?
No, we're doing a podcast. You're live.
Oh, we're doing a fucking podcast.
Well,
Is it?
pull up the pew if you want.
I don't know these people. Internet world. Is this actually live or?
It's not live, but it's gonna be on the internet.
Oh, okay.
We can cut you out if you want to.
No, we won't.
Thanks.
I'm very bad at the software. If you've seen my previous 2 videos, it took me like 6 hours to work out how to encode it and upload it on YouTube. So, Adam, you are most definitely now on my channel.
Okay.
So, thank you, Adam. Good bloke, good egg.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's enough talking about beer.
Yeah.
I want to bring this down to more of a. Let's talk about. Alright, so we met 2013 or 14 or something. We were just working in Camperdown cellars. But that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about I was in a very, very negative space in my life. I'd stopped going to university where I was studying winemaking. I had gotten alcohol poisoning and stopped going to work where I was working for a friend, which sucks more when you let a friend down as well as not getting paid. And I came back to Sydney with the tail between my legs in a bit of a state. And I found my man Kane here, riddled with anxiety, who had stopped going to work, was taking some leave.
Oh yeah.
In a similar situation, which I didn't know.
Yeah, that's right. So that was another bottle store and a half. Yeah.
You don't have to talk about details, but
look.
not a very comfortable, good
For me,
mental situation.
For me, it wasn't about that, man. It was like when you came back to Sydney, it was like you continue to talk about doing a wine degree, and you know,
Which I had stopped going to.
And I'd already done, you know, previous vintage in Marlborough, and you were like, oh, you know, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go up to Central Queensland, and I was like, well, let's go to, you know, Marlborough.
You know what we're doing though? I remember we had woken up hungover. Something different for the viewers. We had woken up hungover, and we'd started walking, and we didn't know where we were walking at the time, but we had started walking. Eventually, we ended up at Bunnings in Alexandria, but we had just take this random walk throughout inner west for no real reason, and we're like, and you floated this idea, and I was like, why the hell not? I've just been studying wine for a year and a half. I'm not doing anything next year. I'm like, let's do it. Let's go to New Zealand and let's make wine. So we pulled the trigger.
Yeah, well,
what a great trip.
And like, thanks to Yearlands, like it was really good.
Yeah, shout out to Andy at Yearlands.
Yeah, we applied at a few places, and I'm glad we did work at Yearlands. It was a shitload of fun. Like
Well, I'm going back for the 4th time in a row, by the way, so don't hate him too much.
Yeah. Oh, it's hard to hate somebody so beautiful like that. Like, you know, Santa, mixed with Muscle Boys. Like,
Yeah, oh, actually, Peter Yillins himself
Yeah.
is a crazy hippie dude who I think he made his money off muscles.
yeah, he did. He patented
And
something
then, yeah,
to do with muscles.
which is probably why New Zealand greenleaf mussels are now what they are. You can get them anywhere. But he got into massive wine production that Marlborough does well. The thing they do well, apart from having the perfect climate for Sauv Blanc, is that they do mass production really well. So he got into that from a sustainable ecological point of view, which
good can-do
it's
attitude.
kind of different. He was new, and he's like, I'm gonna compost this. I'm gonna do this. I'm
gonna get guinea sheep to cut the lawn
because they're too short to reach the grapes, and they're gonna eat the lawn. But what happened is the ships they got on top of each other, so that didn't work. But I like the idea. He tried.
Yeah. And is it like opera being played to the actual...
Oh, yeah. Because he'd done the research with the chickens and the eggs are better and bigger when you play opera music. Oh, not opera, classical. Because no one wants to listen to opera music. It's terrible. I love classical music. So he played classical. So he plays classical music to the vines. What is normally a waste product, he uses to fuel furnaces to heat the water up.
Which is great.
Composts
Great job.
Everything, not just from his vineyards, but from the whole region. So he's this billionaire who looks like a hippie with a full beard, looks like a homeless person. So shout out to Peter Yillins.
And they gave us a job to work on.
They gave me and this guy a job.
Oh, yeah.
And I tried to ruin everything, so I went on a bender like the week before we were leaving.
Oh, this is Brendan This was Brendan
So this is 2015, the World Cup of Cricket had started.
That's right.
The World Cup of Brad being drunk had started.
Yeah, that's right. I just left my job. So
you had started.
It was my last day of my job, and all my friends show up to this bottle stir / pub in the middle of Newtown, which will remain nameless in case of any legal backlash.
We don't want to accidentally promote them. So.
Yeah, and we continue to drink at a fair price, which was still given to me even though I had technically left. And like went downhill pretty quickly. And somehow you disappeared. I continued to drink because I was a champion. And
I may have been drinking earlier. We don't know. We don't know the full story, but
so I got home at about 2 a.m, walking up this hill slightly, and when you see flashing lights, you're like, oh, something's going on here. Like I'm walking that way, so hopefully I get to have a little bit of a sneaky nose of what's kind of going on, and that was at my place. Brad obviously didn't have a house at this time. He was living on my couch. She's really, really good at, but we love him for it.
Sorry.
And sure enough, it was Brad up on a 2-story building yelling out Brendan McCullum at the top of his voice, which is, it was fantastic to watch. But at 2 a.m, the police weren't particularly pleased.
He just scored a pretty quick 80 runs. It was pretty magic.
Oh yeah, it was great innings. Don't get me wrong. We can talk about cricket all the time. We could even, we could have phoned a friend on that one too.
We'll get Bobby on next time I'm in Sydney.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good man. But yes, you were up on the roof. I had to convince a constable that you weren't breaking into the house. And that you only had a few local beverages, and that I would take you inside and not bring you out to the general public for a while, because they were up on the neighbour's roof trying to put a ladder across so that they could get you. Like I don't know how you got up there.
Well, no one knows.
Yeah,
It's still a mystery. No one knows how it got there, but I know how it got down because there's 3 officers yelling at me. I'm like, can I just go out the other way? So maybe I had a way to get out. And they were yelling, no, you jump down here. You jump down now. And I jumped down and done my foot in.
Yeah, so, okay.
2 days before we went to New Zealand.
And then, so, flew to Auckland, watched an amazing game of cricket where New Zealand absolutely whipped Australia. So I happened to tell everybody in the bar where you're from.
And that's when you made me drink Fajoa vodka.
Yeah, Fajoa vodka. Oh, yeah.
It's not good, people.
Cheers, Fajoa.
It's half a goat out of 5 at best.
Oh, no. That's a great. It's 5 Kane stars out of 5.
5 Kane stars. Or
It
1
is.
goat. Depends on your level of judging.
It's chi, mineral water, vodka, Fajoa vodka, and cucumber. Like, you can try it. It is a great cocktail. It's your cocktail of the day.
Only try if you're Kiwi, be honest. And we lost a game that we should have won. I think that was a game where you guys batted terribly and then we couldn't chase it down or something. It was hard.
Yeah.
No, then we almost came back even though we shouldn't have and still lost.
Yeah.
And we left before the exciting part happened. Because
That's
we were
right.
hungover as hell.
And then we obviously stayed in Auckland for a bit, and then started driving down the coast. I'd got a rental car so that we could do this nice road trip all the way to the Wairau.
Yeah.
Get
Shout out the Yearlands now, and this is where they screwed us a little.
Yeah, well, because we were on holiday. We were meant to be on holiday for another week, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were meant to be on holiday for another week. We're down in my hometown, which is Napier. It's on the east coast of the North Island.
Shout out to Kane's bum.
Yeah. Hey, family, great.
I kept his whole family up with a chest infection for like 3 days.
Yeah, and my mum thought you were going to die. She's like, is he going to die? He might do. I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah. She was like feeding you all this medication, like, take this. That expired.
I got better.
Yeah, you
It
did.
actually worked.
Yeah, but yeah, that was a horrible part of the trip. Until the last day, we decided to watch. What was it?
Afghanistan, New Zealand, and
Afghanistan.
Napier Oval.
Yeah, that's right.
We had our TUI shirts where if you catch a ball with one hand, a 6 with one hand, you go into a competition for a big prize.
Oh yeah, it was like $5,000 or something.
No, it was much more than that. It was a good prize.
$1 million catch.
Yeah.
It was the $1 million one-hand catch.
So
That's right.
we sat in the wrong place the whole time, and no balls went near us, which
Yeah.
is normally a good thing. But in this case, I was hunting balls.
But
Right there.
that embankment, which is my hometown, I've been filmed on that embankment quite a few times.
Oh, really?
Like
I got some photos of us sitting there
Oh,
on the
yeah.
embankment.
It was a good day. And then we got the phone call that day that
We had it a couple of days before, and we were just pretty cocky. We were like, you know what, we can make this work. So the game was Sunday in Napier,
which
and we had to
finished at
start
like
work
6.
7 a.m. Monday
Yeah.
in Blenheim, which are on 2 different islands if you don't know New Zealand. So we set off from Napier at 6 p.m. Sunday in one hire car.
And Brad can't drive, by the way.
So I didn't drive once in this whole experiment.
So I drove all the way to Wellington, couldn't find out where to put the car.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
lost the shit with it.
Leaves the car in a random car park knowing that he's going to have to pay extra because of it. Angry.
Still haven't paid for it. Still haven't. And
That's cool.
Hey man, I could rock up into New Zealand and have to pay a wafty fine, but
No,
Yeah,
they won't find
hoping-
you. They
no.
won't find you.
look, me and that lady had a nice conversation about the fact that
I bet.
at 3:00 in the morning I left a nice voicemail saying, "This is where your car is. Don't find me. I have to jump on the ferry."
So we got the 2:30 ferry. And what happened on the ferry?
Oh, that's right.
When was the time he
uh,
ran into his father by a complete accident? But when was the last time you had even heard his voice before that?
18. So
I know New Zealand's small, but come on, what at 2:30 in the morning, over 10 years.
Yeah, he's a truck driver, and we were sitting there getting coffee, like, oh, we gotta stay awake. I turn around to go like sit down by this dude, and I was like, Peter? He was like, Kane? He's like, Dad? Hey.
How you been?
Good. How are you? Fantastic. What are you doing here? Going to work on a winery. When? Today.
In a few hours.
You don't look like you've slept. No, totally have not slept. So, well, we get off the ferry anyway. He was like,
we get out.
Cool. So yeah.
Never talking to him again, obviously.
Yeah. That's right. I'm sure he does well. And then
we get another car but we couldn't find the place for a while, so we were walking around Picton. Shout out to Picton, I guess.
It's a nice little small town.
It's the nicest small town you'd never go to.
Yeah.
Unless you went on the ferry.
So yeah, it's kind of like Hamilton. You just drive through it.
Hamilton's like our Dubbo. You just keep driving, don't stop.
Yeah.
Or for you Queenslanders, like Toowoomba.
Yeah. That's where you grew up, right?
Yeah. So I know.
Okay, cool.
I'm a foremost expert on Toowoomba.
So yeah, and so we get to Yeeland just on time. Oh no, we were like half an hour late.
No, because you know why we were late.
Yeah, because I lost my phone. What eventually found out 2.5 weeks later that I'd ran over my phone, which the police.
You were so stressed and in such a rush, and you're not the greatest guy to deal with anxiety or stress.
Yeah.
And you must have just slammed the door shut with the phone hanging out because you found the thing dangling.
Yeah, that's right. The headphone cord.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah.
And then we arrived 45 minutes late. I'm coughing up a lung or 7, limping because I've still got a half fucked foot.
And then we do vintage.
We done vintage.
We did not.
Shout out to Charles 137 Blenheim.
Oh yeah.
I'll be there again on Monday. Can't wait.
The place where there was a 50-cent coin left in the roof. There was wine on the roof.
Oh yeah.
Thanks to Nico, actually. Nico, if you're watching this, like
French
French Nico, take a job being a cleaner because you're fucking good.
Go there, because that's right. Kane didn't know, but everyone left, and this poor French dude got stuck cleaning the house, and not get in trouble. I couldn't believe we didn't get in trouble, and it has to be because of Nico. So
yeah. So
thanks,
did he
Nico.
collect all the bond? Nico, if you've got my $50,
no one got bond back. I'm pretty sure.
I'll email you my details. Actually, no, you can keep it for cleaning. Let's be honest. I was not going to clean. I ditched the place. It's like that.
If you're listening, Nico, you're going to be on the podcast soon, my friend.
Yeah.
Hope you don't need someone to translate your bullshit.
This house was a party house, so like obviously in front of us at the moment we have a few beers, but we were notorious.
Actually, you know what's really crazy? If I had to judge 2015 Charles Street to 2017 Charles Street.
How many shopping trolleys did you go through?
You don't know. Shout out to Michael Johnson and the rest of 2017. But 2015 was like a 5 out of 10 compared to the 10 out of 10 that was 2017.
No, I couldn't have done it.
And Beaver Street, obviously, Canada, you know, Ryland, Parveny, there's the Italian brothers. Can't shout out to enough people about 2017. So, Kane, we're going to have to get you back, maybe 2019.
Maybe.
We're going to do it properly this time. But if not, that's fine.
Maybe in America. Maybe America.
Well, that was the plan. I want to do 3. I want to do the whole vlog. I'm going to do 3 countries, 3 wineries, 2019. That's the plan.
Yeah.
But
maybe I just might earn some money and fly to America at the end of your vintage.
Maybe you're just already
Yeah,
far better off than I am, and you don't need that bullshit.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But yeah, look, that was a really good. It was a good for me. I came back.
But
obviously started.
I think it was the difference between us that left and us that came back. It's not that anything amazing happened, but just a perspective, point of view. If you're ever just really down and out and you're thinking about doing something risky, just do it. Just take the risk. Because for me, it's always paid out. I went to Cairns on a risk. I went to New Zealand on a risk. Pretty much do everything on the risk, and it's always been positive. Alright, so let's finish this up and let's talk about the wine.
Okay.
So, Old World, New World. You already think it's New Zealand, so you think...
No, I don't. I think it's Spanish.
Oh, so you think Old World?
Yeah, well, it's Tempranillo.
Oh,
It's a Tempranillo.
when you said Elefante, I thought you meant the one from Hawke's Bay that has the copper...
Oh, no, that's Elephant Hill.
Elephant Hill. That Elephant Hill is actually a great winery.
Yeah.
So,
Rosé and Viognier.
so you're going Old World.
Old World, Spanish,
Spain.
sub 20.
Yeah. Vintage is irrelevant on the cheap wine.
Yeah, that's it.
What grape do you think?
Tempranillo.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen.
I bet you I'm right. I'm always
Let
right.
me get my little
I'm always right.
oven mitt out.
Oh, no, I'm not right. Okay.
So this is, well, camera's over here. 2015, New Zealand, South Island,
Oh, it's in a Marlborough Pinot.
Clearwater Cove, made by Peter Yealand's Wine. Now, who worked
Oh,
on the red team in 2015 at Peter Yealand's?
that's why it tastes so shit.
Did you work?
Yeah,
Was that you?
It tastes...
That was you that made this?
Oh, well, I was one of the people I met. It's pretty fruity. Oh, look, you've got to give it that. So, like...
Oh no, I've tried the Elefante wine we're talking about. It's a red label with a bit of graffiti kind of writing. And this is not a bad guess.
Yeah.
Apart from everything being wrong.
Yeah, a bit white, could cheap, which it is. That is his cheap
No. This is very much like that Elefante wine.
Yeah.
It just so happens that
It's,
you got the Old World, New World wrong.
yeah,
You got the grape wrong. You got the country wrong.
yeah.
You got the region wrong.
Let's say it's the Spanish Pinot of New Zealand.
Alright, it's...
Oh, so no, the Spanish Tempranillo.
So if you're looking for a job in Rioja next year,
Yeah.
you're going to show up with the Clearwater Cove Pinot Noir from
Well,
New Zealand.
There would be no way I would rock up with a Clearwater Cove because it's like it's what they scrape at the end of the barrel to make a beautiful
I
label.
assume so, but I don't know.
Yeah, oh, man. Hey, they've got a whole red cellar now, supposedly.
No, they didn't do that. No, they just built a whole new winery. But
There you
anyway.
go. That's why it tastes like a Tempranillo. Their premium stuff is amazing.
The premium stuff is amazing, and the awards would tell you. Yealand's good wine wins awards constantly.
Yeah.
But
But that's my thing. Like cheap wine.
this is a
tastes
$10
like
bottle,
cheap wine
so you can't
until-
complain.
Cheap wine tastes like cheap wine until you know what it is.
Yeah. The only reason why I picked this is because you actually had your hands in this.
Oh yeah, and my feet. And
Otherwise,
my body.
it's very hard to distinguish
Somehow-
cheap wine versus, you can distinguish expensive wine far easier than cheap wine.
Yeah.
So it was a setup.
Yeah.
I admit it was a setup, but you did get your hands in this, you made it, and you got all of the
That's
points.
really good. I've not tried it a year that I've worked at
It
Yealand's.
is. That
Yeah,
is
pretty much.
you made this
I
wine.
left Yealand's and decided I'd never ever drink one of the
Oh,
wines.
hey, I gotta work there next week. Calm down.
I said, not you. Like you, mate. You live and breathe Yealand's, and it's fantastic.
I love them.
Yeah. Yeah, even though you should have gone back and done a premium winery, nice and small. But that's,
I done premium when I went to America. I done one of the best wines in the world, $150 a bottle, US dollars.
okay, all right,
But I'm going back to work at Yealand, so fuck that shit.
that's good. That's good. And do you know what? Like, I'm sure you have more great videos to talk about some of the people who worked with.
Don't be sore because you got it wrong. Come on.
I'm not. I'll be back. There's another wine.
He will be back, I guarantee it.
I'm
And
a
then
sore loser and a sore winner.
I want-
realize it.
I want a good showing next mystery wine on next podcast.
How about I bring a wine next day?
We'll do one each. We'll do one each.
Return. Yeah, it's called Return of Kane.
You heard it now. The Return of Kane. It'll probably be maybe June? No.
Yeah.
Maybe May, maybe in Melbourne, maybe at a certain beer festival.
Yes, we'll do it there.
Maybe at a certain beer
Melbourne.
festival, but Kane will be back on
We'll
the
be in Melbourne.
podcast. Thanks for listening to the few people who do. Bunch of good eggs. And we'll catch up. I'll do a vlog while I'm just cruising around some airports in New Zealand in the next couple of days. Thank you.